A warm hello to everyone. I'd like to take a moment to thank Ms. Praveena for the invitation to speak on their platform. It's an honor to be part of the School Reforms Organization, a platform that's doing something really important, creating space for real conversations about education. My name is Arshiya Tabasum. I'm the academic in charge, the lead trainer of the Teacher Training Academy, and head of the Montessori department at Brainy Stars International Holistic Montessori and School, Bangalore. And I'm also the author of a reflective Montessori teacher book. Today, we are going to talk about something which I'm deeply passionate about: emotional intelligence in early childhood education, and specifically how we as educators can build a strong foundation that will carry our children through life. Before we dive in, let me tell you a little more about where I'm coming from, not just professionally, but personally as well. I have spent over 10 years working in the education sector across multiple roles as an academic coordinator, curriculum developer, teacher coach, parent relation officer, and franchisee coordinator. Each of these roles taught me something different about how schools function and where they fall short. But the thread running through all of it has been this question, like, why do some children thrive emotionally in school while others struggle deeply, even when they are academically capable enough? That question led me into the Montessori pedagogy, which I believe is one of the most emotionally intelligent pedagogies in the world. And this led me into studying child psychology, emotional intelligence, and counseling. Today's session is definitely built from that journey of theory, but more importantly, from what I have seen in real classroom with real children every single day. So whether you are a classroom teacher, a school leader, a trainer, or a parent, you have stumbled onto this channel. I am glad you are here and this conversation is for you. What is the session agenda of the session? Here's what we are going to cover. We'll start with the foundation, what emotional intelligence actually is and why it matters, particularly in early years. It's very critically important for the early years. Then we'll move into the practical framework, the 5 pillars of EQ that I believe every childhood educators need to understand. We'll talk about the educator's role because this is not just about children. Your own emotional intelligence as a teacher is central to this work which you do in the classrooms. Then we'll see the 6 strategies you can begin using in your classrooms from the next moment or maybe from the next week, which requires no budget and no special materials. And we will close with how to bring parents into this because emotional intelligence doesn't stop at the school gate. It has to go beyond the school gate and reach the home of the child. By the end of this session, I want you to walk away with clarity, with confidence, and with something actionable. So let's begin. What's emotional intelligence? We will start with the basics, but I promise, even when you think you know this, stay with me because the way we understand EQ shapes everything we do inside the classrooms. Emotional intelligence is defined as the ability to recognize, to understand, and to manage emotions effectively in ourselves and in others. Now, I want you to notice something about the definition. It's not just about managing your own emotions. It's about using emotions intelligently, and it's about doing that in relation to others. That makes emotional intelligence fundamentally social and relational in that's why early childhood is most important window for developing it. EQ is made up of 4 components, 4 core components. The first one is self-awareness. Knowing your own emotions as they happen not in the hindsight, not after the explosion, but in the moment is very, very important. So we should be self-aware of it. And the next one is self-regulation, the ability to manage our impulse. The moment somebody talks to us, the moment we try to respond, react instead of responding, that impulse, the ability to manage that impulse and our emotional responses, to pause, to choose how we respond rather than just react. The third one is empathy, genuinely understanding the feeling of another person, not sympathy like I feel sorry for you, but the true perspective, taking empathy like I understand where you are coming from, instead of just saying I feel sorry for you. Okay. And the fourth one is social skill, the ability to navigate relationships, to communicate clearly, and to resolve conflict constructively. Now, here is a statistic that I find remarkable. It's a research done by the Talent Smart, which found that EQ predicts 58% of success across all jobs types, not the IQ, not the technical skills, but the emotional intelligence. So, when we develop emotional intelligence in a 3-year-old, we are not just helping them to get through the preschool, but we are setting them up for life. And that is very important part of us as educators. Why EQ matters in early childhood? So why early childhood specifically? Why not in the primary school, or why not in the high school when the children are a bit older, grown up, able to understand it better? The answer to this is in the science of brain development, and it is both fascinating and very important. Like we have all come across studies which says the period from 0 to 6 are very important, and even the neuroscientists say that it's the critical period of life for a child, and in the Montessori pedagogy it is mentioned as sensitive period. And this period is where the emotional architecture of the brain is being built, the neural pathways that governs the child's experiences, process, and response to emotions that are being laid down right now in their brain. We might see many examples inside the classroom from in the age group of 3 to 6. Most of the time, children are not able to name their emotions. Certain times when somebody takes something from them, they start crying, they start arguing, or they start shouting because they are not able to respond. They're not able to name what is happening to them. So, our job as a teacher, as an educator, is to help them name those emotions appropriately, point on them, and let them tell how they feel when something is taken from them, and that behavior has to be modeled by the teacher to the student. There are a lot of studies which says that 90% of the child's brain development happens by the age 5. 90% by the time a child even enters the primary school, most of their emotional wiring is already in place, and the impact of this is enormous. Children with strong emotional intelligence are 3 times more likely to thrive academically, not because they are smart, not because they can focus, because they can collaborate, they can handle the frustration without shutting down. You as teachers might have observed in the classrooms, sometimes there'll be children who are academically very, very strong. They might be scoring above 90 plus, but their regulation of emotion is not at all stable because they have not been trained for that. They throw tantrums, they get into arguments, they don't feel like collaborating. All these things they do, and we have seen it inside our classrooms. We have seen it live, and there are students who are not so sound academically. They might score 65 to 70%, but when you look at them as an holistic human being, you can see that they have the calm, the response, they get from the discipline they have, and the respect they command from their peers, and from anyone they talk to. That shows that they are emotionally very smart and very emotionally intelligent. So how does that happen? Because they were tuned for that. Whereas a child who was academically strong, they were only tuned to study and not focus on anything else. This is a gap we see. Even we have seen parents in PTMs talk to us like, I want my child to get 90 plus. I want them to get into the good colleges. I want them to become engineers, doctors. But only the academics doesn't frame the foundation for life. They do frame, but we are social beings. We need social connections, and that social connections can be built only when we are emotionally strong. We are able to manage the emotions, ours and as well as the person we are interacting with. So the emotional intelligence is very, very, very important in early childhood. Here's a key insight I want you to carry from this slide. When a child learns to manage their emotions early, they develop strong neural pathways for decision making, for building meaningful relationship, which will help them throughout their life. And there's another side of that coin, which we just discussed with an example, like children who don't develop these skills early often struggle not just emotionally, but academically as well. Why? Academically, socially, and professionally as well into their adulthood. Why? Because they will not be able to focus and concentrate when they're always struggling to manage their emotions. When the emotions are managed, they know that they can focus. Okay, and that helps them to build themselves academically as well. What happens in a classroom with a 3-year-old matters more than we can sometimes imagine. Okay, when the child is sent to the school, most of the time the parents just think that they have sent the child to the school to study. And any time throughout this 10 years of my experience in the PTMs or in the classrooms, we have come across a very few parents who ask how their child is doing inside the classroom apart from academics. And almost 95% of the parents ask only about the academics. Why my child is not doing well in math? Why not science? Why not social? Etc. Etc. But never ever about how their behavior is, or how does their behavior influence the classrooms. We have heard only from 5% of the parent in all these 10 years, 5% of the parent. And those parents, when they question, we can make out that they have been regulated emotionally, they have been regulated in their childhood, so that they want the same process to be done for their children as well. So that they know, okay, being into a social environment helps much more than just academics. You are literally shaping the child's brain to learn how they feel. The five pillars. Now let's move into the practical framework. These are the five pillars of emotional intelligence, which I work with in early childhood settings. And we train teachers to build consciously into their classroom. These are the five pillars which we have been training our teachers during their training sessions, which they have to build consciously into their classrooms each day and every day. Okay? The first one is emotional literacy. This is the ability to name emotions. It might sound simple, but it is very profound. When a child can say, like, I feel frustrated, instead of biting someone or throwing a toy or just throwing a tantrum. Sorry, throwing a tantrum, that can be termed as developmental achievement. When the child names his feeling, that can be termed as a developmental achievement. We have to teach the emotional vocabulary the same way we teach any language, through exposures, through repetitions, and through modeling. Like we can name the words like frustrated, disappointed, I'm nervous, excited, I am happy, I'm proud. The teacher can introduce them deliberately inside the classroom, like how they teach the apple and etc. Okay. And the second pillar is self regulation. This is the ability to manage emotional responses, to breathe, to pause, and to choose. In our Montessori practices, inside our Montessori classrooms, we use a peace corner, which is a designated space, calm, beautiful space inside the classroom, not as a punishment corner, but as a tool for self regulation, wherein we teach the children to go there when they are overwhelmed. We teach them to manage their own nervous system. That is an extraordinary skill. Okay. When a child becomes very nervous, very frustrated, and they don't want to stay in the whole circle, we ask them to move to the designated space wherein they can go sit down, do the breathing exercise, calm down their emotions, and then come back and join the same group. And to build this skill, it requires extraordinary effort as well, because the skill itself is extraordinary. The third pillar is empathy. Empathy is developed through perspective taking, through stories, through role plays, and through modeling. For example, when you say to a child, look at Amir's face, how do you think he's feeling? You are building empathy there. Every time you do it casually inside the classroom, or you read a picture book and stop to ask the child, like, how do you think the character feels? You are building the empathy over there, and it starts earlier than most of us think. Okay. You can do always say something like certain times the children come in different moods to the classroom. Inside the classroom, they all have different moods. Somebody would have got up early, and they would have come laughing and very happily to the classroom. Few children, they would have slept late. They would have been pulled out of their beds. They would have come to the class crying, and you can see that. Emotions of your children, and you can start mentioning it to them, like, why do you feel like this today? So can we take a deep breath before we start off with this? Can you tell me what happened so that I can help you to come out of it? This kind of conversation the teacher can build around each and every child, and it will hardly take 1 or 2 minutes for each child. And when the teacher does this, the child learns to depend on the teacher, and it builds a very good connection and rapport with the teacher. The child develops a very good rapport or the connection, and the connection with the teacher, and learning becomes very much easier after this. And the fourth one is competence, social competence. This is where EQ becomes relational. When emotional literacy, self regulation, empathy is for self as well as for others. But when it comes to social competence, it really becomes relational. And whenever they are taking turn, when there is a conflict resolution or cooperation for asking help, and when they have to say no, when they have to share something, these skills have to be developed for social competence, and they never come automatically. They have to be taught, they have to be modeled, and they have to be practiced explicitly, practiced and reinforced. Your classroom, this is I would like all the teachers to listen to this carefully. Your classrooms is the most important social skill lab a young child will ever enter. Okay. Your classrooms are social skill labs which the child will ever enter, and you are the owner of that lab. So you have to be very, very careful when handling the children with their emotional emotions, and as well as your emotions. Yeah. The fifth pillar is resilience and growth. This is perhaps my favorite pillar because it connects EQ directly to the growth mindset. Resilience means embracing mistakes as part of learning. It means saying not it instead of I can't do. When a child, for example, when a child knocks over something they are building, like let us say a pink tower they are building, they knock down and you say, that's okay, let's try again. And you have to mean it and they believe it. When you mean it, they will definitely believe it. You're building resilience there and you are laying the foundation for lifelong learning. Or whenever a child does any mistake in the classroom, show the child what can, even if it happens, no problem, we have to embrace the mistake and we can move forward from this, and what we have to learn from there. Instead of shouting at the child, we have to show them mistakes are part of growth, and growth happens even when we do mistake. It doesn't stop at the mistakes. Now, I want to talk about something that is often left out of conversations about the emotional intelligence in the schools, and that is the educators' own emotional intelligence. As educators, we uh, we hardly think about our own emotional intelligence. We just think about the child's emotional intelligence, and we keep talking about the child. We will never ever think, like most of us. I'm not saying like not everyone. Most of us don't think about the emotional intelligence. Most of the time, we our judgments about the child are based on what we have seen previously, what we have heard previously, experienced, heard from others, or what we have learned according to our mindsets. Okay, so to fine tune our emotional intelligence, we also need to learn. Okay, and childrens don't learn emotional intelligence from worksheets. They learn from watching you, and you are their role model inside the classroom, not their parents, not their peers. You are their role model. Think about what a child simply observes by being in your presence every day. They'll spend 4 to 5 hours with you. They would be watching your every movement. They watch how you respond when things go wrong. They watch how you speak to other adults inside the classroom. They watch your face when you are stressed, and they will feel your energy even before you say a word. You can mark my words for that. Children who are 3 to 6 years old, they will feel your energy even before you say a word. Okay, you might have experienced. They might ask, "Ma'am, today you look upset." Some children ask, "Today you look tired." I have heard this kind of sentences from students who are 3 to 4 year, 5 years old. So they will feel that energy even before you say anything. They feel that energy, and you, the teachers or the educators, you are the most powerful model of emotional intelligence in your classrooms. And it is both an incredible privilege and a serious responsibility as well. So we as educators, we have to own this responsibility, because this privilege will not be handed to each and everyone randomly. When you are a teacher with children from 0 to 6 years, it's a privilege because we learn a lot from them. Mm. It's a very, very beautiful privilege. Model model emotional language. Whenever you are among the children or with the children, try to name the feeling. Say, like, I feel out aloud, like, I'm feeling a bit tired today. So I'm going to take deep breaths before we start off with the class or with a presentation or with anything, whatever you are doing inside the classroom. When the children hear you name your emotions, they learn to name. They'll also say, like, "Ma'am, I am also tired. Ma'am, I am breathless. Can I take a few breaths? Can I sit down? Can I calm down?" So they'll also learn to name their emotions. Co-regulate before you correct. A child with a dysregulated brain cannot learn. Not the brain. A dysregulated child cannot learn. Dysregulated means the children who don't know their emotions or how to handle their emotions. That is called as dysregulated. Their brain is always in the survival mode where the cortisol is flooding their system and the thinking brain is shut off. It's shut down. It doesn't want to listen to anything or it doesn't want to see anything. So when the cortisol floats their system, they stop thinking and their brain closes. They are very small beings. They'll not be able to handle that much of pressure. And when the brain is offline, you cannot reason with a dysregulated child. Okay, so what you must do? You must connect, physically get down to their level. Use a very calm voice and stay regulated yourself. And only then you can redirect the child. You have to always connect. Most of the time, when we give orientation for the teachers, we emphasize on this, like connect with the child first, then correct the child later. So without connection, if you are redirecting the child to do something, they will never ever agree with you. So you should always connect with the child, then redirect. This you should always remember. First connect and then redirect. When you connect with the child, they feel that you are their safe space. They can always come to you when something goes wrong. So never ever overlook a child who wants to come to you. Okay. Always connect and redirect. Second, create a safe emotional climate. Predictable routine, warm and consistent responses, and clear boundaries signal safety to the child's nervous system. When a child feels safe, their brain is free to learn. Okay. Children's love predictability and they love predictable routines and they love the warm and consistent response they get from their elders, like their teachers, their parents, their siblings, etc. And when there are clear boundaries, it signals safety to the child's brain, okay, to the nervous system. And when the child feels safe, their brain is ready to learn. Whatever you teach, they are ready to learn. Okay, so as teachers, we should always maintain predictable routines, warm and consistent responses. Respond, don't react. Your regulated presence, your ability to stay calm when a child is not calm, is the most powerful tool in your classrooms. And it is also the hardest one to develop. And that's why your own emotional practices matters a lot. Uh, I request all the educators to always respond to the child whenever they come with anything. Instead of reacting, instead of saying you always do this, get down to their level, respond. Listen to them first, then response. Your regulated presence will calm the child immediately. That ability you have to build as an educator, and that will become your most powerful tool in your classroom wherever you go. When you have that ability to keep a regulated presence, you will definitely build a very beautiful child who is very calm, very regulated, and who respond instead of reacting. Sure, sure. All right, let's get practical. Here are 6 strategies you can start using. They don't require a budget, they just require intentions. Okay. Strategy 1, emotional check in circles. Start your day every day with a brief gathering. Ask, how does your heart feel today? You can use emotion wheel or a feeling chart or just words. It takes 3 to 5 minutes. And what it does is remarkable. It validates every emotion as acceptable. It builds the vocabulary for the child and it gives you a pulse of your classroom before the day begins. And the peace corner, which if you don't already have, you create a peace corner just with a chair and a breathing card. and few small soft objects. Introduce it during a calm moment. Tell the children this is a place where you go when you are feels big. It helps us to feel better. Okay. The third one is emotion storytelling. You can use picture books because EQ books act as anchors. Books like The Color Monster, In My Heart, and The Invisible String, they open conversation about emotions that children sometimes cannot start on their own. You can read to them regularly. And whenever there is a need, you can stop and ask, like, how is the character feeling? Has it ever happened? And narrative is how children make sense of the world. The fourth one is role play and puppet. Act out social scenarios and conflict resolution. Uh, when you act out this as role plays, children speak a lot through. The child can talk about their feelings, might find it easy to speak through a puppet rather than directly. Okay. The fifth one is conflict resolution. Here you can tell the child, like you can share an example and tell the children when they are fighting, like how they felt when they fought. They can name the emotion, like I felt very bad when Ria said like this. Examples, that kind of examples you can give, and it builds with practice. When you first say, we don't need larger sentences, we can start using single words to name the emotions, and then from there on we can build simple sentences. Gratitude and reflection. End each day with a simple question, like what was one kind thing you did today in the classroom, or what was one kind thing you did yesterday at home, or did you notice someone else doing it? This kind of questions you can ask, and you can build the vocabulary around that. Okay. Emotional intelligence doesn't stop at the school gates. It will reach its full potential only when we partner with the parents, not parent as not as a receptive participant, but as an active partners. Whatever we are doing at school, we can share the same language. We can send feeling word of the week to be implemented at home, and we can always have a brief 10 minutes 15 minutes briefing with a parent during the PTMs, and we can set boundaries, framework boundaries with the parents as well to implement at home, so that when they are implemented consistently at home and at school, they will the learning becomes compounded, and the children will know that they are practicing the same thing at school as well as at home. It will help them build a um, strong routine about that. There's a home EQ bridge which you can view on the right side of this slide. Okay, and when home and school speak the same emotional language, a child become extraordinarily coherent, and coherence is a foundation for security. Three things I want all teachers to do starting from tomorrow. First, you have to name it to tame it. You have to name the emotions to tame them. You have to create a peace corner and help the children to how to go through that, and always co-regulate first before you correct or redirect the child. I want to close with something I have been believing with my whole heart. Every interaction with the child is a chance to model, to teach, and strengthen the EQ. You hold more influence than you think. Okay? And as teachers, the work you do every day in your classroom is not small, it is not routine, it is profoundly, it is quiet, and it is world changingly important. You are very special people for the 3 to 6 years old children. So I would request all of you to showcase that, so that the children also develop into a very prominent human beings. Thank you so much to Ms. Pravina and the school reformer team for this invitation. It has been a joy to be here with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Arshiya. If you can stop sharing your screen, we can have a better view of you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions based on the summary of your talk, ma'am. How do you introduce the Peace Corner without children misusing?
Like we have a designated place inside the classroom where we have few soft toys and a chair with an card like to name their emotions. We have emojis drawn on the card, and we tell the children whenever you feel like you don't know what to do, and when you feel frustrated or disappointed, you can go sit there. You can breathe in and breathe out for a count of 5 or 10, or you can pick up the cards and show me how you are feeling on this card, or you can hug your teddy bear here and you can breathe, so you will calm down and you can tell me how you are feeling. This kind of activities we do it for our children inside the classrooms.
Interesting, ma'am. So, which picture books do you recommend most for EQ storytelling?
There are plenty of books, but there is one book which specifically says the invisible monster. We have that book, and we have many picture books where the children can, the parent or the teacher can read, and the children can see and name their emotions. Like the Hungry Caterpillar, also we have. That's also very nice book.
Mhm. So, the tiny toddlers, each child i-
Mm.
is unique. How do you use puppets with shy or non-verbal children?
With the shy and non-verbal children, we get to know them a little bit in detail through the parent during our parents call, like we call parent every week to follow up on the child. Certain times the children come with different moods. So whenever the teacher senses that the child is not present inside the classroom mentally, we try to talk with the parent. We understand what has happened and why he is, and depending on those scenarios, we keep building the child profile for that child, and there we understand at this point of the time the child needs this. So at that time we specifically help those particular children in understanding what they are feeling, how they are feeling, and how they can come out of those feelings.
Mhm.
It's a habit which we Brainstar has built, like the child profile system. We maintain that as long as the child is inside our school, like they come in 2020, and if they are studying with us for 7 years, we build that profile till 7 years, like how he was in the first year, in the second year, in the third year. So it helps us to understand the child better.
Great. Miss Arshia, how do
Yeah.
you sustain the gratitude reflection routine daily?
The gratitude reflection routine time, when we start off with the school after the academic year starts, we specifically don't go with the curriculum or the syllabus for the one entire month. We will be implementing ground rules for the children, like how they have to walk inside the classroom, how they have to talk, the noise level, all those things. And during those times we teach the emotional regulation as well to the child. Like if somebody gives us something, we should say thank you. We have uh, uh, a routine, like when they are eating, they share the food and eat with other classmates, and there we teach them like how to say thank you, how to be grateful when they are going. Before going, the teacher will have a small circle time. Then she'll ask like, what did you share today? Because they will have friends, so we will name each friend, ask how did you feel sharing your cake, how was the cake. These are examples, like how did you both enjoy today. So it becomes a routine consistently, and when we are doing it consistently and it's built over the time, by the end of the year we can see the uh, climate of the classroom, like they are very much inclined, and they are very active while interacting.
Thank you. Do we need to pause? Okay. So we discussed about the emotional regulation of the children. But
Gee.
how do you handle teacher burnout while maintaining emotional regulation? We need to discuss about the teachers too, right?
Yes, yes. This is a very sensitive topic for me because we as the trainers for teachers, we have seen many burnouts of teachers. And here, to cut this burnout, what we have been doing is whenever the teacher, before the teacher feels the burnout, we keep observing the classrooms. So we sense that because they are also human beings, at a certain point, they'll have that breakdown. So we try to see that no teacher faces this burnout, and we try to streamline the workload. And whenever the teacher is not able to focus or concentrate, we give her space where she can go sit for some time, relax, and then come back and talk to us like what was happening. Because most of the time, we as human being, we get overwhelmed, we get anxious certain times when things don't go the way they want inside the classroom. At certain point it happens, and when that happens, we step in to regulate that, or another teacher step in to regulate, and that teacher is given a breather to relax, calm down, and come back. And we make sure that we have a reflective practice for the teacher at the end of the day, wherein she will question herself for maximum of 2 to 3 questions. She write downs in her daily reporting, like how she felt, how the day went, where she felt that she needed support, or where she was grateful for a colleague stepping in. All the reflection helps us to understand, okay, this teacher needs more time to help herself build up before stepping into the classroom.
Right. So, ma'am, Montessori does have a different concept of learning, right? It's
Yes,
not
yes.
mainstream. How do
Yeah.
you address parents who only focus on academics from day one?
See, when we are doing parent counseling, we tell them that we are following the Montessori approach of learning. And when the child comes here, we will first work on the development of the child rather than just direct academics. We do follow 70% of the Montessori system and 30% of the traditional. We blend and follow. So once we feel that the child is able to comply to the ground rules, he has settled inside the classroom, which we call as normalization period in Montessori. We move on to the academics, and whatever we have curated our own books wherein every activity goes with a worksheet. Okay, if they are doing brown stairs or pink tower, we bring the pink tower as from the biggest to the smallest cube. We have created an activity for that in the textbook where the teacher implements that activity. So it is presented hands-on learning first, then it comes to the worksheet, and then again the child implements it with hands-on learning. So this way, we have built a system where the children become academically sound as well as emotionally stable or disciplined.
Great, ma'am. Last but not the least, I would love to ask you more questions because of the time constraint. I have to end this session with this last question, Miss Arshia. What is
Yeah.
your one actionable tip for a teacher starting EQ work tomorrow?
Can you repeat the question?
What is your one actionable tip for a teacher starting EQ work tomorrow?
Okay, one actionable for all teachers, I would recommend. Okay, first, regulate your emotions. Before you step inside the classroom, whatever you are bringing in from your home, drop it at the school gate. When you come inside the school gate, breathe for a few seconds, breathe in and breathe out, calm yourself, and then enter the classroom so that you regulate your emotions before handling the emotions of the children.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Arshiya Tabasum, for that insightful and thought-provoking presentation.
Thank,
And we truly appreciate you sharing your expertise on our platform, ma'am. Anything
thank
else
you.
you want to mention before I end the session?
No, it was a pleasure to be with you and thank you to the school reformer team.
Thank you and have a great weekend. I'll end the session.
Thank you.